Thank you.
So I kind of have them all set up here. And by the way, newsflash, all three apps, we just ran through some things that we saw weren't working properly. So the notification, the little red number 1 here, when a teacher, a student, or an admin gets a notification at all, as long as they have their notifications turned on for Teacher Zone on their mobile devices, those show up no matter what. You don't, before you were having to log in to do it, that is fixed. So it works normal now. So that's great. So first thing we're going to discuss is the Teacher Zone admin app front desk check-in. So I will click here. I'm logged in as the regular teacher right now, or the regular account. I'm going to log out of this.
So just for context, everybody. So if you have a front desk, or another usage for this might be if you, let's say for group classes, it's great for that. We do have the check-in enabled in the student apps too. So for private lessons, student could show up, a teacher could say, hey, pull up your app, check in. And that's a great way to sort of encourage student engagement. But if you have a front desk and you're wanting to encourage the students as they arrive, or you want to do it for groups, then you can actually put the school app on a tablet. And so you could have it just at the front there on an iPad or a tablet. And then what Tyler would show is that when you log into the front desk part, you can either log in as a sub-admin or the school login. Then it shows your school logo and the students can search themselves, but they can't actually do anything else. So it basically blocks them from doing any administrative stuff. So we basically added 2 logins to the school app. So take it away, Tyler.
Yep. So, and we got a few of these to jump through. So we're going to get through these apps, and we're going to try to get through them in about 10 minutes. Okay. So let's rock and roll. So right now we have it set so they all show up. Normally, if you set it in your preferences, they will only show up 30 minutes prior to the class. So don't be overwhelmed.
What Tyler means by that, I'm sorry, Ty, but just to be clear, see how we see all of the lessons and classes here? And see on the right, there's a check-in button. The check-in button will only show up top, let's say for that class that's at 2, from 1:30 on. Basically, if you enable that function under preferences. If you don't enable it and you just turn on check-in, then they can check in anytime. So we gave that freedom so that way you can have either or. You can limit when the check-in can happen, or you can just have it there. I'm not sure many people would check in for a class that, they're not attending or a lesson. But just so you know, you have that under your preferences. You can actually set those settings up either 30-minute before or just all.
Yep. So it's basic. Anybody here go to CrossFit or a gym or whatever? It's not rocket science. I use it every morning when I go work out, and it's super easy. I type in Tyler M because there's 2 other Tylers there, and I'm checked into CrossFit, and I get little awards if I go a lot, blah, blah, blah. So that's all this is. Not rocket science, super easy. So what I'm going to do now that we've looked at that, I'm going to log out, and I'm going to minimize my screen really quick for security purposes. And
we do have a question about Android, Tyler. And so, yeah, Christy, the Android app is for the school app is actually, it's been submitted and under review for Google. So we're hoping in the next week or so it'll be approved. Google is slower than Apple because Apple's test environment is a little bit more aligned with their approval process.
Perfect. So I'll pop this back up. Here it is. Done. Sign in. And this is the admin app. Type in the chat if you've already started using the admin app, by the way. I'm going to keep going, but I'd love to see that. So type in yes on the admin app if you've been using that already at your schools. Or type in no if you haven't. Let's see. So
what are we looking at? What are we looking at?
I'm going to tell you right now, Chris, what we're looking at. Here it is. So it shows the whole day. This is basically your daily schedule all in a line. However, and you can do anything you want here. You can come over here. You can see who's canceled, by the way, already. Kira Martin's canceled. Our principal, Phil Allen, is in Texas. That's already taken care of. Or if Drew's here and you need to contact him, you can go to his profile and contact him, or take the attendance yourself from the admin app. So yes, teachers can still do it from their teacher app, etc. However, if you want to just see a quick breakdown, because this is the whole day. This is Los Rios Rock School's whole day today. Okay. Well, watch this. Come to the very top, sort by individual teacher, and you can get a clear daily for that teacher. Okay. So that's kind of nice as well. And you can swipe to take attendance, and I do not want to, and or swipe right and head into there, and you can even hit their profile here to find contact information.
So for
And
admins, if you haven't used the teacher app, it works a lot like that. You swipe right for attended, and then you swipe left for other functions. And so that's kind of how that works. We've already experienced in using our app with regard to
so what Melissa's been doing, and then we find out a lot of people are doing. Melissa and Sarah run our operations at Los Rios, and that's why I wanted to see if you guys have already started doing this. So as I go back to all teachers, people on the fly, or if they're on break and an urgent line comes in and they need to find something out, they can also go to contacts on the bottom. They don't have to just swipe right. The great thing about the daily is if somebody called in right away and it has something to do with today's lessons, you've got a quick way to access their phone numbers, and you can click the numbers and call immediately now. That's fantastic. However, if you just need to find someone in general, you go to contacts and you can search students or staff. Okay. Everybody's there and you can find them really quickly. So if I'm going for a student, I can either just go down and click and find them, and then those numbers and hot links are active. Okay, everybody. So it's really basic, but you know what else is cool? You can see any notes that were taken by the teachers, so on and so forth. So a lot of things that the teachers were experiencing and loving, you used to have to kind of log down into a teacher to see. You don't have to anymore. So now they are just here. So if I go to Raylan, pop his stuff up, and here's all the notes from the teacher that are private that parents can't see, and so on, plus the phone numbers. So I think that's what Chris was talking about. On the fly, quick phone calls. Hey, we need to get on the phone with this person, or send them a quick text. That's where this is really being that one of the first things that was used immediately by people we've been talking to, including our own organizations. So that is your dashboard on the Teacher Zone admin app. Now, when I come back here, you're going to notice there is leaderboards and reporting, and then we're pretty much done with this one. Okay. I'm going to go over to reporting. You have attendance reports and payment reports here. So if I go into payment reports, you can now just go ahead and I'm just going to hit search here, and it's going to pull everybody up, and you'll notice the spreadsheet will show you everything that is pertinent to the payments report you're already been looking at before. And you can drill down as deep as you want by student or by teacher or type of transaction or whatever, just like the payments report. So the attendance report is right here. This is great as well. Kind of hit search here. You could search by you can go to a teacher, a specific teacher, and go by a specific student, or you can see an overall attendance from March 1st to March 2nd is the default, or you can change those date ranges and see how you're doing. And Chris will be going over something exciting later too, which you've all seen. Voila, there was a magic new dashboard right on your desktop, and a lot of this reflects there as well. So that'll be fun to talk about in a second. So Chris, that's the attendance and payments. I'm going to just jump over to leaderboards, and we've wrapped this one up, right?
well, no, what about the well, just FYI on the chat, because I know that we've already been using that
Thank
at our
you.
school.
Thanks for the friendly reminder. So the chat, this is really, really good. So after we've updated this is one of the reasons we made sure the notifications were working properly. So first of all, you've got notifications on the top, right? So anything that's been happening, canceled lessons, anything, at a glance, you can see here and drill down into those, okay? Or you can come to your messages, and people can now message your school. And by the way, like Chris said earlier, if your sub-admin is logged in to the same app, they get those messages as well. And they get push notifications on the iPhone or the iPad tablet or whatever, and they know that a student is trying to reach out, or a parent or whatever. So you've got all student. And we use this one now because they can't chat back on this. So you can see we had a ticket reminder go out, and it hit everybody. We had by the way, we updated the apps for notifications. We just did that. So those are really, really neat functions that work really well now. Plus, you've got all teachers. And
Yeah, by the
so
way, just so we're clear, the all students one Tyler had up, we made that so students can't chat back. So it's more like a bulletin board, just
let's
FYI.
just say that it didn't used to be that way and it went nuclear. And
So if you've been with us a long time, we've got a delete button under the all students for the school. So log into the school, hit the chat all students, and hit the delete so it can clean it out, and then you can
yep.
use that.
So you've got your contacts and you've got your chat. Okay, that works very well. And then lastly, we've got leaderboards. So the leaderboards are here. So right now it defaults to the first and the second. And I'm going to just do January 1 because I'm actually interested since this is our school.
Yeah, what it's defaulting to is the month, right? So every day it'll kind of up.
Yep.
Like
it'll add a day to March. So it'll be 3-1 to 3-4, 3-1 to
Yep.
3-5, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So I just did all teachers for the last 2 months. And it looks like Ferris is in the lead, then Chloe, and extra hours. That's funny. Those are our teachers use those for other staff things they do. But look, this is actually really cool because Henry Rising is
And
great.
when you click on them, you can actually get a little more detail about what points teachers have assigned.
Yes.
So
Why is Chloe in second place? The war of points is going on. Well, first of all, she got a hard worker badge from her teacher that was custom assigned. But most importantly, check this out. Go to student points and you can see what she's been doing. So she's been logging in quite a bit. She logs in a lot. However, what I don't like is she hasn't been using her practice timer. So this lets me see, okay, whose her teacher. She's logging in constantly, looking at her stuff, but why isn't the practice timer being used, etc. So depending on how your school works, all those points are logged there. And if you didn't know this, logging in, watching videos, practice timer, and what's the fourth one, Chris? Attendance are automated points that your teachers don't have to do anything to have them be assigned. Okay.
Yeah, and what's fun about that is you can actually go under learning, under the school account. You can actually go under learning and set these up. So you can create your own badges. You can create your own point systems that teachers can assign.
And what Chris is referring to is in your preferences and desktop version of Teacher Zone. So there's still things that aren't in the admin app, obviously, but we did show you everything that's there currently, and I'm sure that will grow as well. But you're right.
Ty, before you go, if you don't mind, swipe left on Ray and go to his actual attendance screen.
Oops. There we go.
And then there, by the way, what's nice about these screens, and you can swipe between it, is you can actually make a few changes. So 1.0, we did allow you guys to make simple changes, like, for instance, change the lesson day or time as an admin, or you can change the location, or you can change the color, you can make some notes and stuff like that. So there is some basic functionality on the scheduling of each student as well. So just wanted to let you guys know that is there, and we're going to continue with all of your feedback to make this more and more robust based on, whatever you guys think you need.
Yep. So there's that. So that's the admin app. It's quick, it's easy, it's in the palm of your hand. We've been enjoying it ourselves. So that's everything. So now what I'd like to do is switch over to the student app. Oops, Ray's still practicing. Wow.
Oh, and just while you're doing that, Tyler, and since everyone,
he's really practicing.
I don't want to talk over you, but no, I'm teasing.
Chris is excited. This is a big deal for Chris. He's been in production land for so long that now that the product's getting more fun, he can come up for air and talk to people, and he's not just got his pocket protector in with the devs anymore. So welcome back to the living, Chris.
Yeah, I will act as a liaison between all of y'all's suggestions and questions and needs and our project manager with our dev team. But we did in the teacher app. You might have noticed, how it has attendance on there, like attended, student canceled, banked, all that kind of stuff. It didn't used to say that on the teacher app dashboard. It does now. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that. We had a lot of you request that.
Do you
So a
want me to
couple weeks.
show that really quick? Because I just switched to the teacher app.
Yeah, it's exactly like it was. So go
Yep.
ahead and take attendance actually if you want to.
Boom. Take attendance. Come over here.
And I know a lot of, well, you could just do it from swipe right. It doesn't matter, but yeah, you're right. Whatever you choose now will show on that dashboard. Bam.
There it is.
Yep.
So the green attendant, or if Zella got, you guys have heard me use this analogy. She got a new Camaro and a boyfriend. That's my daughter. It's gonna happen one day, and she doesn't go to her music lesson. That won't happen. Come back into the attendance and come down here, and obviously we're gonna hit a no-show because that alerts everybody at once: administrators, teachers, and any emails and SMS text numbers on the student's account. And it will say a little amber no show there. So whether it's teacher cancel, student cancel, no show, your teachers and administrators at the same time are going to see the same information, because right now this is the teacher app. Okay.
Right.
And then this is the admin app. So there's 3 apps if you're wondering. And this is the student app. And if you're wondering, the method to the madness is students red, teachers are the turquoise, and the admin is that awesome purple Chris picked.
Well, I figured
that's my favorite one, Chris. That's the favorite. My favorite. All right. So here's our student app, guys. We've got a couple administrative things on there, and we've got a couple fun things on there for the kids too. Plus, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the student app didn't have this design before. It was our first app we ever put out. So we not only redesigned the design to match and be similar to the other apps, but we also added some new features. So the practice timer looks a little different. Okay. I like it. Done. The dashboard looks nice, but if you scroll down, the kids can see what's going on at the school. And if there's a contest, how about hypothetically, Chris? By the way, we got one coming up for most points in a month. So what I would do is, if the contest is over, or let's say the contest is only 5 days in, and we announce the contest that it is basically, it was February 1st through March 1st. However, let's pretend it was only, oops, my bad, cancel. It was only, go back, please. There it is. It's only February 8th so far. So the kids pop that in, they hit OK, and they can see who is in first regarding those set days once they hit apply. See how?
And then if you click on them, you can actually see their points and badges.
Yep,
for those of you
thing.
that want to, you can actually disable, if you choose default under the settings, you can have it only show the student themselves, or if you could show the school, that shows everybody.
Perfect. Yep. And then and the kids. So remember, I'm a child right now, or a parent. The parent apps can log into this too. I can go like, okay, what's this person's? Holy crap. They've got the insane badge. They've got a yellow. I love that. Our teachers saw the karate belts, because we work with martial arts schools as well. And all the teachers at Los Rios, 3 or 4 of them, started applying belts to their music thing. And we just love that. It's just fun and creative. And student points. So the kids can actually look and see how these kids are accessing those points to win. The guitar is first place, the whatever is second place, and the little interface is third place. We've done these before, and the kids really go to town on it. It's pretty neat. So that's that. And
that's awesome.
So there's also, if we go to the sandwich menu, I'd like you to guys see this really quick. So I hit the sandwich on the top right, and the parents can do this. And you'll notice that there is a payment, billing, and store line there. Okay. If I open that up, they can not only edit their card and their address, but they can add new payments for any of these now, including ACH. Or they can even buy a plan for, let's say, summer school's coming up, right, Chris? They don't have to go to a widget and fill it out, even though they can. That'll work too, right? Widgets are great. They can literally log in and go to buy plan and choose plan.
And yeah, and we added this function under the parent and student logins. So in the apps, so the parents, and the way you enable this is just like you did before. Whatever you enable under the widgets, there's a checkbox that says show under students. And so if you can create special widgets just for ones to show under the students, and then it'll basically show in the apps as well. So show desktop and apps, so they can log in, make a payment choice. They can also buy store items. So you could actually, if you sell merch or tickets to recitals or concerts or whatever, you can actually do that as well in the store. Um, so
So
trying to make it a lot easier. We did add the ACH, as Tyler said, as well. So because a lot of you had asked to say, hey, could they add that in the apps as well? And so we now have ACH, credit card, purchasing, and store items.
and we don't want to give away the farm here or anything, but some people have also asked to see if they can have in their preferences choose to only take ACH or only take credit card, or maybe they delete them all and they just want cash because they're sick of the IRS. I don't know. So that down the road in a few months, you might see that appear as an option too. So Chris, is there another one here? I mean, a
The payment
contract.
report, we did now put it so that way you can actually view what payments. So as a family, as a parent can come in and actually, see their entire payment history
Yep.
in the
All
app.
they have to do is hit
So,
search. This is a bad student to do it on. Raylan does not pay to go to Los Rios. So if I hit search, all of his payments would come up. So he's kind of my little test guy. And then also the contracts are right here. How many people get a lot of within the first 60 days, sometimes longer, a lot of questions about, wait a second, I didn't know it worked that way. I thought we got a makeup lesson no matter what, or whatever. One little 30-second video of you hitting this record button, turning the mic on, and it won't let me right now because I'm already logged into with you guys, and hit start recording and showing them to get to this screen, opening the contract, and he doesn't have a contract to sign. Clicking on the contract button, it's a 30-second video, put it as a private link on YouTube and send it to them. They will never have to bog down your phone. Some will, I get it, but they won't as much. We don't have anybody calling our school anymore to cancel. That's over. They cancel in the app. So you slowly start to train them to get the systems and ops cleaner and free. So if that makes sense to everybody, that's kind of
all right,
cool.
Tyler, just I'm curious. Do you have anything else to show? And if not, we could take a couple questions on the apps, and then we'll
Yes,
move to
I
other
don't
stuff.
think so. I'm thinking out loud here. I mean, if I'm going to do we're going to put an email out, and I'm going to do a walkthrough and a Q&A, and everybody here, or you can send your teachers, because we can have up to 150. We'll log into that, and they can really pick my brain on this, and we'll have some fun. So in the meantime, let's just check out those questions.
Catherine, let's unmute Catherine. Hold on.
And I'm going to unshare. Stop sharing.
Or Catherine, I think you can unmute yourself. Is there any questions? We're letting you sort of drive the traffic.
Yeah, let me pull
Is
up
there
my
any
little list here.
questions in particular that you want us to answer?
Yeah, let me check here. Give me one moment.
Sorry, I kind of threw you into that. We should have given you a
No worries. Sorry, I had it kind of turned down so I could check all of the chat. One of the questions we had is for existing students purchasing a plan through the app, if the school will get the notification now. That was from Michael and Rima with Out of This World.
Yeah, so when the student purchases in the apps, you're going to see it, number one, under recent activities. You're going to see it under your payments reports, and you should be getting a notification. So if you're not getting a notification, let us know. But yeah, absolutely, you should be getting notified in the recent activities, the payment reports, and we do send a notification to the school.
Perfect. Let me see here. So the next one that I have is going to be, is there a way to reset all customer student notifications to factory settings now that chat all accessibility has been changed to school bulletins only? That's from Christy.
Yeah, I mean, you can go, you're talking about the custom communications. You guys have freedoms to turn that on and off. You can edit and reset each one. So you can basically we have like 64 notifications in there now. So you can go in there.
I don't think we have like go back to factory settings defaults. Do we,
Yeah, we
Chris?
do.
Oh, it
Yeah.
does?
Yeah,
So
each one
just
has
be
a
ready.
reset.
Does that also take away any
Not
custom verbiage?
all, not all. You do them each one because each one's their own
Yeah,
custom.
that's what I meant. There is not an overall factory reset button like some softwares have, video games for your audio and stuff like that. If that's kind of what your question was, that's not there. You would have to go down, and we understand there's a lot of those custom communications, and that's on our radar too, to simplify that in the future as well.
So, okay, it looks like if there's nothing else, Catherine, then I'm
No,
going to
there's
move
a
on.
couple more real quick.
Okay.
So one of my students in the app is having issues with the practice timer, not saving their time. Save that, hit me up in Basecamp or hit questions and put my name on that. I'll look at that one for CAD music. So questions at teacherzone.com. Hit me and Catherine up on that. The student and the teacher apps won't allow me to log in, even though I'm an admin. Admin credentials only log in to the admin app. Teacher credentials only log in to the teacher app. Student credentials and parent credentials only log in to the student app. So just know that those are three separate entities based on who the customer is. Okay, good question. Let's see. Sorry to go backwards. Was contact list and admin is missing a ton of students. Any suggestions? Give that app a second to load. Remember, the app is an extension of our legacy software, the big system that is doing all the database pulling. If you're not seeing stuff right away, let it sit there for a second, and it will populate, and you will only have to do that for that day, or if your app's been logged on. Apps are kind of like that. They get all the information in, it takes a second, and then they have it there.
Yeah, that's you're going to see. Just know the dashboard's just showing today. The contacts should have everybody, including students and staff.
Right. She was
So if
talking.
you guys,
Right.
yeah, if you guys have any questions about any of that, just feel free to reach out. We're always here for you guys 7 days a week, as many of you know. Support at teacherzone.com or questions at teacherzone.com. Is there anything else, or before we move on?
Here's a quickie, but once you log in as an admin, you can log in as the parent, student, or teacher, not on the app. Yes, everything's still the same on the actual dashboard software, which you can use on mobile as well. But no, the app does not log down into accounts.
And the reason is because there's two ways to do an app, guys. You can do an app like a desktop, which isn't really an app. It's a pretend app. And so those don't tend to work quite as well. Or you can do more native style apps, which is what we did. And so they're a little bit more fluid. They're a little bit more user friendly. But to do that, we chose then to have a separate app for each user. So that way that user has a better experience.
And I think that's it. If the parent does ACH, will it be drafted every month? That's an admin question, but the ACH stuff, just hit questions at, and you'll get a quick answer back on that. So if a student has set their own phone preference, is there a way to reset for families? That is, they do that in their own account. They can change their phone numbers and emails as much as they want inside the student account. And yes, an admin can log down into those accounts on the regular browser software and adjust those as well for them. And that's it. We're caught up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Catherine. And thank you, everybody, with your questions. And, you know, like I said earlier, questions at or support at Teacher Zone if you guys need any help with anything further, even if it's not related to what we're talking about. So let me go ahead and show you some of the other things. So let's first just go here and say, if you guys didn't know, in our help center, we actually list everything that we've released, and it's under here. You can search for feature releases. You can also, you know, click on any of the menu items here, and then it sort of outlines everything that we've done. At the end, we'll kind of tell you guys what we're working on next. And so let's kind of start here, and let me just show you. If we start with our new dashboard, so I know you've all seen this by now. While we're here, I just want you to know on the right, if you click in here, this is where I could search like student app, for instance. And now it's going to have, you know, here's my student app overview article. And then what's nice is we have hundreds of articles on just about everything. We've got videos, links, all sorts of stuff. So, and so just so you know that that's an easy way to come in here and search anytime you guys need it. And if you get a new administrator, we also have these TZ tours that are walkthroughs on things in the system. So you can actually click here and then click through them, and it'll actually walk you through different aspects of the system. So let me close that. All right, dashboard, Tyler. So one of the things I want you all to know is that on this dashboard, what we start with is our school capacity. This isn't related to us. This is related to you. But this is more is this is like a goals for each location that you have. So for instance, if you know that you only like Tyler and I, we currently have 13 teaching offices in our school. And so that unless we share, we pretty much know our capacity at our school based on what type of lessons we do, how many classes we can do, that kind of thing. We know that at our school we have a certain capacity, and I think you all do too. So for instance, under your preferences, if your capacity is 275, then you'll put that here. It's basically whatever your goal is for the school, and then that lets you know how you're doing in relation to your goal. If you have been with us a while and you have a bunch of active students that shouldn't be active anymore, what I would suggest you do there is go ahead and export the student report, and then you can get us just the students you want to make inactive. You can also put in there tags. So if you'll notice under preferences, there's custom tags that you can add. So you can add different tags here and then get us a spreadsheet that literally has those tags. We can then make all those students inactive with those tags, like past students, summer camper, prospect, whatever you want. And then that way these numbers will be more accurate. So all you have to do is,
Chris, can
yep,
I get Los Rios tags into you? And can you put
yes,
ours in?
sir.
Because we're like the worst. We knew about this first and haven't done them yet. And they're going to be a game changer.
Totally. Yeah. So we just actually fixed our uploaders, didn't fix, but we upgraded them so we can actually update member records. We can do lots of things for you guys as admins. So feel free to reach out to all of us at questions at or support at teacherzone.com, and we can do that for you. So in looking at the dashboard, the first stat here is that it's basically your capacity versus how many active students you have. You notice that we have new enrollments here. Students made inactive, so it basically allows you to get a snapshot. On the far right, we've got a filter, so you can kind of see like 30 days. I mean, this is a fake account, but it gives you an example. You can see this month versus, last year. And then we even put an export to CSV because I was mindful. Tyler and I had talked about all this, and we said, gosh, one of the first things that a lot of people are going to ask for is that they can have these in reports. So what's nice is that you can export these so you can kind of keep track of historical records and keep your things basically giving yourself the metrics you need to make growth and other things happen in your school. With regard to the other fields, obviously no shows what it is. Assignments would be assignments within the time period. Everything's related to the time period you choose on the dropdown. Then with regard to the classes, enrolled would be people that actually paid for classes. Otherwise, it's how many hours versus how many classes. And then same things, it's how many lessons were given versus how many hours of lessons given. So it just gives you some quick stats. The second part to this dashboard that's really nice is when you arrive, what I would suggest in the morning for all admins when you arrive is go ahead and click on the things you use most. So if you're using your teachers, click on teachers and launch the teacher tab. If you're losing the reporting or anything like that, launch the daily schedule, launch the weekly, all that good stuff. We didn't put the billing stuff on here because usually that's things that you'll only do at a moment in time, like every quarter or once a year or something like that. So this is more day-to-day dashboard. As I get down to here, you'll notice we have schedule reporting, and then down here we have recent activities. So what's nice is if you want to see any new students that registered, as an example, you could type in registered and it's going to show you new students that registered. You could click see more, or like always with the recent activities, you can look up other things here. So lastly, the leaderboard. This basically just shows you an overview of who's the most active, and that would be because of the default settings that we have, like Tyler mentioned earlier. Who has attended more frequently and gotten points for that. So the leaderboard is based on the 4 automatic factors mixed with the teacher custom assigned badges and points. So anything else to cover there, Tyler?
Chris, yeah, you know what I like too, and I think everything's there already. But one of the reasons we put our assignments, no shows, and you'll notice that some of those are kind of like hot links there. Pretty soon, I believe, if we have students that are no shows for the week, like it's nice to know exactly who they are instead of trying to look at a whole daily or a weekly And that one no-show thing has been very helpful for us because those families either need new times, maybe a new teacher, or maybe their heart isn't in it and we could have a more productive student there. So that's something that our school has been all over, is those no-shows.
Yeah, I mean, it's a retention issue usually if they're no showing. So yeah, that's great
And
to
the
keep track of.
assignments are great too. You can go, oh, cool, 30, like I'm looking at our dashboard.
Yeah, if I click on it, you'll see that in this case it shows, basically what was assigned and all that good stuff. So cool. All right. So moving on, because basically it's 46 minutes in, Tyler. So we're gonna move along. We've got
Time to rock.
okay. What we basically done, guys, is we have one of the things is in the weekly and the daily view, we're now linking. So we always linked private lessons, but per your request, we now added so you link the group lessons so you can see assignments and all that kind of stuff. So when you're in the schedule, you can always just click here and launch. You can do that also from other places like the payment report and all that. So you'll notice that. The other thing we did was the delete. So you'll notice that so for instance, I can launch this student contact card right here by clicking there. And I could schedule to make the student inactive. So let's say you knew that they were going to be canceling with you in 60 days. You could just go there, schedule in 60 days to make them inactive. It's going to ask you if you want to cancel all schedule and billing. You can say yes. The other thing we added is the delete. So here, when you go to delete, we now ask you, do you want to delete just the schedule and attached billing plan? Do you want to make inactive and cancel everything? Or do you want to just delete the schedule? So we added those functions here too, just to sort of reduce some friction so you don't have to go to the student profile and organize it, or rather schedule it. And what's nice too is that wherever and thank you to Sally for helping us when we first released this, whenever you delete, what's nice is that it actually takes it from that moment forward. So that way, basically you're choosing the date. So if you know that they're leaving next week, then don't delete this week, obviously go to next week and delete, because you're still going to want to take attendance this week. So I hope that makes sense. Also on the monthly view now. So we're now showing the monthly view again, because a lot of you are doing classes. And so you're asking for the monthly view for that. We did add a filter to make it easier. So now you can actually sort by teacher on the monthly view, which is nice. You can also, on the monthly view, we made it so that you can easily just link to, so for instance, if I want to link to a group or private lesson, I can actually just click that link in the monthly group view and it'll launch from there. So that's monthly view. Let's go ahead, Tyler, and review the plan builders. So we added a lot, you guys, to the group plans. This has been an ongoing for the last several months, but for those of you that aren't aware, I want to make sure we review it. One of the things we did was with multiple days. So now when you have multiple days with a group, you actually can choose the days, but you can actually click here and you can actually, so I could do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Let's say I have a group and I want to add a start time from 8 to 8:30. We'll just add that. And then I want to go here and I want to add another time. Thursday from 12 to 1. Now, why would I do this? What's neat is that you can add unlimited times for a group class. And the reason is for these drop-ins. And what that is basically if you want to have sort of like a gym, if you will, where you want to go and you want to allow students to be a part of a class for a flat rate, and then they can drop in a certain amount of times. That's what that is really great for, because you can add sort of unlimited there, Tyler. And then if you click this drop-in button, then what that'll do is that it'll mean that they can drop in a certain amount of times. You have the enable max allowed. When you click that, then what that does is it says, okay, how many do you want to be able to be in this class? So for instance, I'm going to say 100. How many do you want to be able to show up at any given time if I have drop-in allowed? 10. So now only 10 can RSVP and show up. We also do have a quick ad for teachers if they happen to show up and didn't RSVP. But this allows you to have sort of that more floating mindset for some of your classes. I know for our school, we're starting to utilize this for we have a jam on Monday night and on Saturdays. So that way students that drop in RSVP, the teachers can easily take attendance for that still. So that makes it really nice, allowing the multiple times and allowing that. Another thing I wanted to show you is under weekly, we now made it. And I think, Dan, you're on the call. Thanks for this suggestion. We now have it to where you can literally do 121 minutes if you want. So you can just freeform. He's like, why do I have to choose one? I'm like, you're right. So we made this so you can literally choose whatever you want as far as the length of time for your classes. And then what's great too, you guys, is we also add the ability for you to add as many payments as you want. What we know is that some of you might have a class and you want people to have different options. So what does that mean? That means that I could literally have one. So let's say this one's $100 recurring monthly credit card, add payment. So now I've got that as one. Now I want to say, you know what? I'm going to let them for 500, just pay once. Boom, I can add that payment. So what's neat is that you can have different options. So when they go to choose to join the class in the apps, or they go on the widgets to join the class, they can actually choose from different payment options that you offer for that exact same class. So super cool. Lots of different functionality that you can utilize there. The other thing, I think that's it with groups. So let's go over and jump over to
I've got the outline up. Let's
private
see.
lessons. Yeah, with private lessons, Tyler, I think the one thing was the one-time registration fee. I wanted to show you guys that basically a lot of you are telling us that you have like a $50 fee or something that upon registration. So let's pretend like you charge $200 a month for your private lessons and you charge a $50 registration fee. Then what you could do when setting up this plan is you could actually put the billing to be, start date next month. And you could say start it on the 1st of next month. And then it'll charge the $50 when they sign up. And then it'll charge the $200 monthly fee starting on the 1st of next month. So we added that so that way upon registration, you guys can take your registration fees and make it super simple. So that's one-time registration fee. The other thing that we did is we did actually make it so that way you can, with semester billing here, we didn't used to allow semester billing in the registration, right? It was more of an admin function. So for those of you that do semesters, you can actually type in, how many lessons, if you have a down payment, all the different factors of semesters, you can now put in here in the plan builder itself. So that way it carries to registration. So you can have users register online and not just register through the administrators. So hope that helps. And Tyler, let's look at our list a little bit, and then we'll see. Delete schedules.
You're getting there.
Reporting.
You're close.
Yeah, reporting. If you guys don't know, these audit reports, with the main function of these, they have two functions. One is to see, just to make sure that for some reason something didn't miss the batch. If you see anything come up here that says retry, then just hit retry and it'll batch it. So I suggest you guys pulling this, every week or two or once a month at least, and just making sure that all your payments went okay. We added one-time payment in case for something ever happens with that. You can just rebatch it really easy. We also added a store audit reporting down here, so that way you can check on that too, just to make sure everything batched as expected. Lastly, the audit report for scheduling is basically just kind of showing you, is everything mapped? So you'll notice it has with a plan, without a plan. It's basically trying to decipher what's mapped to an actual billing plan or not, just to give you more transparency on that side. If I move on and go to our payment reports, we added some different filters to that. So you can now filter just by plan name, so just students on a certain type of plan. You can also filter by lesson type. So you could filter just by all your drum students or anything like that. That is going to take currently from the lesson type that's on the schedule. We do have an update coming where you're going to be able to you'll just choose here. Do you want to take the lesson type from the student profiles or the lesson types as listed on the schedule? We've had that request, and we know some of you are using one and not the other. So that'll allow you to have a little freedom there. That should be released in the next couple of weeks. Plan type. We also, we've always had that. Let's see what else. Teacher name at the payment. We did, for those of you that don't know, we did add hot links. So here now, if you click, it launches the student's contact card. So that makes it nice and easy. Also, we do add, I don't have it in here because this is a test account, but if with credit cards, we add the transaction ID in here, so you can actually copy that and then go into your respective gateway and actually check those transaction IDs. So we added those two things, and then we also link to the student's profile here as well. Moving right along, student report. This thing is we're making some updates to this constantly. We're adding some new filters, actually date filters here in the next day or so. But basically what's nice about the student report is that this allows you to now, we've made it so that if you export, you can now export the students with their parent contact data. We had that request a lot. You can now choose to export just students that take lessons on Sundays, for instance. You can choose students that take drum lessons on Sundays. You can choose to sort by private or group. So what's neat is that we made this student report a lot more robust. We've also allowed, of course, the ability for you to have custom tags in here. So if you had tags, you could sort by that: status, active, inactive. So for those of you that aren't using this, there's a lot of neat options. The other thing we added was the ability to sort by just a teacher and their students. So I could actually pick a certain teacher, and then I could search and I could just sort that teacher's students. So lots of new filters on that one. And then I think the last one, Ty, would be the attendance report. So on the attendance report, you guys, what we did there is we made some updates to the views. We also made it so that way, if you're using the bank lessons, you can actually come in here and you can filter just by restored bank lessons on a certain date. You can filter by when they were banked or when they were expired. And then, of course, what's neat about this report is that it allows you to, so if I just go run it here, it allows you to update expiration dates. So I can actually come in here and I can change a student's expiration date to say, I want to update it. I can
Are you
also
talking banked lessons expiration dates?
correct.
Okay.
So there's a bank lesson report, and then I can also, we added a select all. So if you want to wipe yours out, let's say they're all, you run by an expired and you want to just remove all the expireds, you can actually just hit the select all, and then you could say remove banks, and it'll make them all the respective. See where it says reason, teacher canceled or student
Where's
canceled?
the select all again, Chris? One more time.
Top right here.
There it is.
Boom. And then you save or hit remove banks, and it'll, whatever this attendance type, student canceled or teacher canceled, is what it'll then revert to, and it'll remove the bank. Cool. I think that is all, and right at 60 minutes. So let's go ahead and answer a couple questions before we end. I will say, Tyler, we can, let me stop sharing my screen real quick. Where is that? All right. So you guys, hope that's exciting to everyone. We work really hard, and we know everybody, all of you out there are working hard to transform your student lives, and we don't take that lightly. So we're super grateful for that opportunity, and so I just want you all to know that we're super grateful to work with everybody and to constantly try and get better every day and try and help you guys, each week reduce some friction in your business. We did have a meeting with the team yesterday, and we're going to start getting a lot more pointed so we can be more transparent with you guys about what we're working on. In March, what we're working on, mostly, I mean, obviously we're doing a lot of side things, but the 4 big things, Tyler, is PDFs for your contracts. So that way when students agree to contracts, so you can actually have multiple contracts once we release that. So you'll be able to have, students agree to something and then have them agree to another thing for a music or for a camp, and then have them agree next year if you wanted to. So we're adding an assign all for contracts so you can reassign them easily. We're also adding a PDF creator. So when they agree to stuff, it actually timestamps it and creates a PDF.
Right. So the assign all is going to be great because we don't, sometimes as owners, we're like 2 years goes by and we're like, oh my gosh, we don't even do that anymore. We need to update what we do. Well, assign all hits everyone, and then they will agree to a new contract. At that point, they'll be prompted and they can read it or not. We know what 10% read the darn thing. It's hilarious. So, but either way, it doesn't matter. It's like a DocuSign effect, sort of, you know what I mean? Because they will have that in their possession at that point. So that's a cool one that's going to be coming up. What else, Chris?
The other thing we're doing is we already have it on the servers. As you know, you can SMS right now from the chat. Um, and obviously we have a ton of SMS notifications, like 30. But we're adding the ability for you to filter by certain types. So by like Monday students and SMS everybody if you have a snow day, or to be able to have quicker communications on that side. So we're already testing that on the staging servers, but it's going to give you guys a lot more freedom on the communication side to be able to make those connections
Right.
if you need to or desire with that.
And there might be two neat things. I don't want to get too far into it, but it'll be basic, like text today's students in the dropdown, or text this week's students in the dropdown. That'll be super basic. However, I really still like the student report filter options too, Chris, because you can go down to, in the student report, drill down like you were going to make a CSV, except text whoever ends up in the filtered report. So
yeah, we're adding that functionality all over. The one thing to keep mindful, guys, is that we do have to kind of limit it to a certain number. So that's our only caveat there, is we're going to limit text to a certain number, and then you can just upgrade for more because they actually cost. We right now, gosh, Tyler, I think we're sending 250,000 texts a week or something. And we just eat that cost right now. And so if we're going to allow you guys to do that kind of thing, then obviously
it starts going like you guys are teeing off on it, which I don't think everyone's going to really go to town. Like you're going to ruin your business if you're texting people that much. Like I love in my doctor appointments, press C if you're really coming. And it's like, sweet, they send it once, so it's not like it's going to be some big ordeal. It's just the ease of use and the friction point will feel easier. That's probably the biggest gist of it. Unless you're like Cosmo or even Resonate and you're like, all right, boom, 800 texts today, 800 texts tomorrow. And so, okay, well, then we'll probably be on the phone with you and you might get an alert. So anyways, what are the other two, Chris?
We're going to be working on giving you guys more flexibility with your rescheduling. And so basically we're going to make the open times have different. So for instance, you'll be able to choose this open time is just for registration. This open time is just for rescheduling students. And then you'll also be able to choose in the open times. We're going to put it in the plan builder where you can actually choose this plan is just for the virtual lesson open times. And that way, if they sign up for that, the only things they see are the virtual lesson moments. So we're doing those updates to the open times as well to allow you guys to not only make it more accurate, but to, just make sure that you're able to ideally grow in the areas you want to. So if you want to sell more online lessons, you want to sell more virtual lessons, or you want to make sure your reschedules of your lessons or banked lessons are going into. Or you don't want
your admins rescheduling banked lessons into where a new student wants to start right away and the family has 4 kids ready to start now. Like stuff like that will be hedged and you don't have to wonder where 2 admins are like crossing wires and stuff like that. It'll help with that as well. And then the last one, can I say it?
Mm-hmm.
Very common, but the Google and Facebook authentication login. So registrations will make more sense. So we're going to start coding that so that your admins, your customers, and everything, they will be able to log in with their Google account if they choose to, just like every other software does these days.
Yeah, we really, we use the usernames right now because you guys will have like a parent with 5 kids. And so you'll have the same darn email on like 7 accounts. And so we couldn't use email because we were like, oh my gosh, they have the email 7 times. So now what we're going to do is we'll still have the username in that scenario, but we're going to try and make it 1.0 is allowing different identity management. So allowing Facebook or Google or them to log in. And then 2.0 would be allowing them to just say, kind of like we do in the parent app, or where a parent can log in just with their Google, let's say, and then toggle down to their kids. We're going to make that part easier. So for those of you with teachers at multiple locations, for families and all that kind of stuff, we want to make it start to feel basically like social, because a lot of people that are on, obviously social media are used to toggling. So we're going to make the toggles just feel more native and make the logins feel more native to what everyone's used to.
And that's it. That's your there's about 40 other things, but we're not going to get into that because these are the ones coming up. But we're going to be meeting with you guys once a month about and doing one of these walkthroughs of the features and then kind of a teaser on what's up coming next and things like that. So hope you guys had a good time with us. We did. Chris and I are a funny couple of partners that you guys have been dealing with for many, many years, and we love you for loving us. So thank you so much.
Um,
So we're going to go through the chat and make sure. I think Catherine and Ellie have been responding to people to make sure that no one is left in the lurch. So we'll get to you guys on the back end with that. And until next time, we'll see you very, very soon. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye.
we'll have this recording, by the way, if anybody wants it. Okay. Thanks, Ty.